everyone, welcome to Journey with Jenney. Sometimes it's great to find humor, however dark, to create relief from something very difficult. Everyone on this planet suffers. To be human is to suffer. It is also human to feel joy and happiness and anger and grief. Dead, empty inside, or alive to the very fullest. There is a multitude of feelings and state of being that one can be. It's a choice. Every moment we have a choice, and I repeat, suicide is preventable. I'd now love to share my very own story, and I hope you'll excuse me and bear with me if I get a little nervous or emotional, because I can tend to be. Thank you. Thank you, Ali. Ali on the piano, everyone. A little bit of an improvisation.
Yeah, a little bit of a,
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, here goes. Hi. My name is Jenney Szeto, and I was born and raised here in Boston, Massachusetts, to immigrant parents from China who were mostly uneducated. My dad never graduated high school, and my mom finished. However, they were from a poor rural village. To this day, they still don't speak English, nor have they assimilated to American culture. I give so much credit to my parents for trying their very, very ultimate best. All they could do was work hard as manual laborers in the restaurant and manufacturing industries, barely making minimum wage. Actually, I made more in my first year out of college than both my parents combined. Can you imagine that? They were rarely home as they worked non-stop to put a roof over our heads and food on the table for me and my siblings. And my brother was a picky eater. My dad worked 6 days a week, 13 to 14 hours a day. Wow, I didn't expect to get emotional already. Woo! When he was home, he was sleeping, cooking, or cleaning, dealing with my mom's shenanigans. Honestly, that man is a saint. He really bore a huge weight on his shoulders. I admire both my parents a lot, so much, immensely, for their hard work, resourcefulness, and their resiliency. It's thanks to them that my siblings and I, we're still alive and we're well today. It's funny, one time in therapy, I kept repeating to my therapist, who's a white woman, how privileged I felt. And she just snapped at me. She finally had enough. You are not privileged. If you were born into an American family, you would have been reported to child services and put in the foster care system. You get that?
Yeah.
I don't think she was wrong. She really opened up my eyes and made me see my childhood, where I viewed it with rose-colored lenses, in a much better light than maybe it actually was. One where my brother and I were latchkey kids, home alone or spending hours at the nearby park, at young ages, we were tiny, alone. With our neighbors and their dogs as our babysitters, unknowingly, So thank goodness Alston was not a creepy place with homeless people. It was pretty safe, relatively. And she gave me a totally different light from what was reality. I think when you're a child of trauma, you have to cope somehow, or at least that's what I have to do, and this is how I did it. At age 11, I started running away from home. Except when I returned home, there was never any, "Where were you?" There was no questioning, there was no punishment. You'd think that'd be a good thing. It's not. Just, "Have you eaten yet?" They have famea, and life continues. The emotional unavailability in my family was so stifling to me. And the mental instability of my mother, the justifiable anger and frustration of my father towards my mother, and in the fighting, like the fighting that was constantly happening were all too much, all too difficult for me to be bearing at home. Any place but home was a safe haven for me. And no wonder today I'm such a nomad. And for those of you that know me, now you get why I am the way I am, right? Am I right? Thank goodness I'm not wearing mascara. I grew up in an environment that caused me to be happier away from home, where things seemed better and easier, and wow, my friends' parents would actually be interested and ask me how things were in my life. What a novelty that exists. Rather than being at home, where I associated with unhappiness and misery, and where no one seemingly cared about me. It's like I'm this invisible child that doesn't exist, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. It's like no one can hear me. Hello, I'm here, I exist. Now, present day, I know my parents love me. I know it. They love me. They do. Of course they do. Yes, of course. They're my parents. That's their job, right? And it might not look the way that I would want them to love me, but I know they do it in their ways. Have you eaten yet? Equals I love you. Here, there's food in the fridge. Equals where have you been? I just hear it differently now. I get it. It only took me 12 years of therapy, guys, and then going to retreats to get to that point. So I'm extremely grateful. But it doesn't change the fact that at age 16, if you know what being a model minority is, I felt so strongly this need to be the perfect person. Well, guess what? It doesn't exist, and it's virtually impossible. So don't try it. At some point, it all came crashing down, and I cracked under the pressure, this immense pressure that I put on myself. Nobody else in my life was putting that pressure on me. So I tried to end my life, and luckily, as you can see, it didn't succeed. Oh, thanks. And then soon afterwards, luckily, I snapped out of it. My best friend at that time kept inviting me out to go biking, to barbecues, to the beach, and even to the shooting range. We probably went 20, 30 times, which in hindsight, he definitely didn't know that I was depressed or suicidal, but that probably wasn't actually the best place for me to be. But really, I just want to let you know, the thought never crossed my mind. It just seemed all too bloody and violent to me. If I were to go, I would go quietly and as painlessly as possible, so no one would know, as no one did. Luckily, soon, very quickly, the pain I was feeling that invited me to end my life started to go away, and I started to experience one thing after another, reasons to keep living, such as a conference of over 100 Asian women inspired me that there was more to life, such as going to college and rediscovering myself, and the excitement of finally studying abroad and traveling out of the country. We're too poor to go anywhere. Such as being young and dumb, as all teenagers and young adults are. Staying up all night, watching sunrise at the beach, going to the cave, having group trips, having fun, memorable experiences that I never want to forget. Things to look forward to. I'm grateful that ever since high school, things never actually got bad enough that I ever attempted suicide again. But that doesn't mean that life doesn't continue to be a struggle at times. I repeat, at times since then. You know, for me, life is generally really happy, but those moments where it's dark, it's like so dark. This too shall pass. It's a saying thanks to Deepak Chopra's meditation course that I took about 5 years ago, which has become a mantra for me anytime anything happens, whether hardship or something good. Whether the good times or the bad times, this too shall pass. And Ben said that earlier. Oh. So then in college, I became severely depressed again. And finally, this time, I went to seek free therapy offered on campus. Woo! Let's give a round of applause to all those people doing that goal. Now, I have to admit, I avoided talking about the real issues, like mommy, daddy, and any of that stuff, and only shared surface level fluff. Oh, the girls are fighting, whatever. But at least for the first time, I truly had someone who listened to my problems and had to care a little, or at least make me feel like they did. Well, okay, at the very least, they were paid to pretend to care, whether they really did or not. And that's nice, a captive hostage for an entire hour at a time to just listen to me talk. In senior year of college, I actually decided to run along the Boston Marathon route to get out of my depression. It worked. Running in the middle of winter and swearing each time I was running. Like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I doing this? Albeit painful initially, and I kept questioning my sanity a lot. At least it got me out, even in the middle of winter, in the snowstorm, in the rain, in the sunshine. And all that dopamine and endorphins you get from exercising, guess what? It worked for me. So yay, exercise. So I got out of the darkness, but I never resolved my problems or childhood trauma. So about 5 to 6 years ago, I was at my most depressed since college. And I still remember finally telling something that I thought was my friend. And she, no lie, nearly spat at me. What the fuck do you have to be depressed about? Her anger and her seeming non-empathy really shocked me. But I don't know honestly why it came as a surprise. Here I was hoping for a friend in need, kindness, support, the things I didn't get from my family, and I was hoping to get out of my friend. Well, nope. The stigma against mental health within the Asian culture is so real. It's so heavy. It's so ridiculous. Asian people hate talking about mental health. It's like the plague. Don't even mention it, or we'll get sick just talking about it. It doesn't work like that, guys. But eventually, luckily, I did get the help that I needed. And I hope you see the same. It's not luck. I just kept caring about myself. Kept valuing my own life. I still remember, oh man. Whew. I still remember the day I called the suicide hotline 6 times in a day, guys. Yo, this was no joke. That day was rough. So call as many times as you need. It's a free hotline for a reason. And you can now dial or text 988 for those in need. Each of those strangers really helped me get through the next few minutes or the next few hours that day. Just enough to get me through the worst that day. I'm eternally grateful to those strangers, whoever they are, because for the life of me, even though my life seemed perfect on the outside, I was dying inside. And for the life of me, I could not get these images of wanting to just step off this building, the top of this building from my mind. But no worries, I was on the ground level when I'm thinking these thoughts. Never did I attempt it, nowhere was I near it. But again, for the life of me, I just couldn't get these thoughts out of my head. And that's where our mind, right? Our mind is power. What your mind thinks, clearly that's what you know what? I was trying to deceive my mind. I was trying to tell my mind, hey, your life is perfect, believe me, believe me. My body wouldn't let me believe it, and was really depressed. But eventually, because I love myself, because I value myself, I finally really have gotten the help I need. Through therapy, through meditation, through medication, through communities like this, through exercise and running my marathons all around the world, through personal growth programs, and yes, even through ayahuasca. There, I admitted, I said it. I am so very grateful to have healed myself from at least the trauma of my past. I have ownership of my mind now. I'm learning now to let the past stay in the past. It doesn't plague me like it once used to. And in 2019, I started this Serenity Circle series around content regarding suicide awareness and suicide prevention, thanks to Landmark's SELP Self-Expression and Leadership Program. And who I am is courage, compassion, creation, deep, loving connection, caring, and community. So from the bottom of my heart, I truly thank each and every one of you all so much for being here and for being a contribution to suicide awareness. It all starts with the willingness. That's the first step, just the willingness. Just say, I'm willing to try. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to support the healing and suicide prevention, to truly know for sure, definitely, without a single questioning of it, that suicide is preventable. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ali, for the piano accompaniment.